Now, the Chancellor's autumn statement has brought some good news for businesses in the Midlands. George Osborne announced a number of measures to help companies, including a cap on business rate rises. Our political reporter Susanna Mendonça has been finding out if people in our region like the taste of it.
Throw in the leanest cuts of meat, the cheapest veg, and what do you end up with? A pasty fit for an autumn statement. Well, it's actually an enormous Jamaican patty made by Wade here, who's been running this business in Birmingham for more than 20 years. He's happy that the Chancellor's capping business rates at 2% and giving small firms like his rate relief for another year.
That will make sure that we can sustain jobs, that we currently employ local people, and it can increase our profit margin a little bit better than what it is now.
For obvious reasons, this firm's glad there was no talk of the pasty tax of budgets gone by. Instead, the Chancellor rolled out a few policies he'd come up with earlier, like making energy bills 50 quid a year cheaper. That's intended to help families like Joe's in Burntwood near Lichfield, but she isn't overly impressed.
We've got a house full of children. They leave a light on. I don't know how much impact that makes. £50, it's not a huge difference, is it? I'd like to see more of a difference. You know, we need a reduction in our household bills.
She had a financial advisor around today who had a stark warning for people in their 40s who will now see their pension age rise to 68 in just over 20 years' time.
The impact, I think, is enormous, particularly for people who are in their 40s, who simply now are going to turn around and say, hang on, how do I fund that with so little time? It might feel like a long time, but it's not. Not when you're talking about saving for your retirement.
Some in the Treasury have called it the Goldilocks of autumn statements. Not too hot, not too cold. But did George Osborne manage to get it just right?
Time for the taste test.
George Osborne's autumn statement, which bits did you like best?
The pension age, terrible.
How's that going to affect you?
Well, it means I've got to work longer, get paid less, and I was hoping to retire at an earlier age.
I think it would make us more attractive to employ.
Was there anything in the autumn statement that you did like? Anything at all? Which bits did you hear that you liked the sound
free
of?
School meals.
Why?
It's free, so it's an equinox a free bargain.
Go on then, grab one.
So some support among those digesting what's in and what's out, but some concern too at what the Chancellor has planned for them. Susanna Mendonça, BBC Midlands Today, Birmingham.
Well, also in the autumn statement came a rare thank you from the Chancellor to two of our backbench MPs. Mr Osborne told the Commons he was grateful for their campaign to breathe new life into our ailing high streets. Our political editor, Patrick Burns, has been following events at Westminster, joins us now. So, Patrick, which MPs are we talking about?
Well, two, surprisingly enough, two Conservatives, Mary. Paul Uppal in Wolverhampton South West and Marcus Jones in Nuneaton. And as you say, if you go to parts of their constituency, you can see what damage the economic downturn generally has done to high streets in towns and city centres, and also, of course, the immediate effects of the general drift towards online shopping. Well, the message from the Chancellor is that he has been listening, which is why he's offered what is in effect a £1,000 discount to small retailers, small shops, restaurants, cafes, pubs and so on, in the hope of breathing new life, as you say, into those hard-hit high streets. Let's consider the wider impact on our region of this autumn statement. I'm joined by Jack Dromey, the Shadow Home Office Minister, Labour MP for Erdington in Birmingham, and James Morris, Conservative MP for Halesowen and Rowley Regis, which is, of course, James, a marginal constituency, as you don't need me to remind you. Given that this is seen as a very political autumn statement, what is in it for your constituents and other people in marginal seats, apart from year after year of squeezes on living standards?
Well, I think it's clear today that the message is that Britain's economic plan is working. Clearly there's more work to do. I mean, employment is at a record high, the economy is growing, but we need to stick to the plan, make the tough decisions necessary to get Britain's economic fortunes fully recovered.
But are those pieces of good news really felt by your constituents, people with their jobs and their home worries?
Absolutely. Unemployment is lower in my constituency at the time of the last election. But as you said, we've taken measures today, capping business rates increases at 2% last year, giving significant incentives to the high street. We need to continue stimulating growth, but we need to stick to the plan and not go back to the borrowing and the debt, which got us into the mess in the first place.
There you are, Jack. The plan is working and delivering better news for many businesses. Look at Jaguar Land Rover opening new production lines in Brazil, we hear.
A world-class success story, rightly expanding worldwide, and I've been working very closely with them because the Jaguar plant is in my constituency. On the economic plan working, this government's going to have borrowed more in 3 years than Labour did in 13 years. But the crucial test is this. As I put to the Chancellor today about the Erdington couple I spoke to this morning, hard-working family, finding it really difficult. The husband has twice lost his job, each time new job on lower pay, now working nights. The wife a carer, and they say to me,
debt is falling, deficit is falling, and today
James,
we're freezing fuel prices.
Let's talk about how real people out there feel. They say to me, this budget will do nothing for them. They are struggling to pay their mortgage and their energy bills.
We could go on, but sadly the clock has beaten us. If you want more background on this, you can go to my blog, bbc.co.uk/Patrick Burns. Now, Mary, back to you.
Patrick Burns, thank you. A 39-year-old